There were many flourishing industries in the Industrial Revolution, but is one more important than the others? Let's take a look.
The Industrial Revolution, which first began in England, involved the development of the most important industry known as the iron industry. The iron industry helped fuel the rest of the Industrial Revolution as it played a key role in history. The factories where iron products were manufactured are a perfect example of what was done by a laborer with the use of machinery. This new use of machines, mechanization, to aid in making of iron products or any products impacted the history of the Industrial Revolution. With mechanization came the use of the method of mass production. Mass production allowed for the creation of large amounts of the same item in the form of an assembly line. Weapons and tools were both necessary and useful items that were produced easily with the existence and development of the Industrial Revolution. During this time period, the basic system of an assembly line was called the division of labor. Basically, the division of labor separated the workload into different tasks, each specific task done by a person or a group of people. Josiah Wedgwood, who was famous for his contributions to pottery, also developed the concept of division of labor. Josiah Wedgwood is also known for his invention of the pyrometer. Mass production and division of labor meant less time and money were used to make products. Also, the prices of the products decreased as there became an increase in the amount that was produced. Workers also were not required to be as skilled as before because of the steps that were now done by the machines. Specifically, in the iron industry, cheaper forms of coal and iron were founded. Abraham Darby found a more frugal way to produce cast iron by fueling the furnaces with coke. Coke was the residue of coal left after being heated without being in contact with air. Another process that was used was puddling. Puddling is the process of making pig iron, a cheap form of iron, into wrought iron, a more durable form of iron. This is done through the use of heat and stirring the iron. Then came the use of the hot blast. The hot blast used heated air and raised the temperature of furnaces, which was able to produce cheaper and even purer iron. Henry Bessemer founded the Bessemer process, another method used by factory workers in 1856. This allowed for the mass production of steel. Steel was extremely flexible and hard to break and rust. Along with the expansion of the iron industry and the contribution of less expensive processes, a building known as the Crystal Palace was built out of iron and glass in London. In 1851, the Great Exhibition of the Works of Industry of all nations took place in order to determine ways to improve the quality of industrial design in Britain, as well as find ways for Britain to compete with goods from all over the world. This building is an example of how the iron industry was also applied to the architecture and society of the Industrial Revolution.
Mechanization, the use of machines to perform tasks, provided many industries with advantages. Let's visit an 18th century factory to see these advantages.
Excuse me, sir. Are there any job openings here?
Here, you want a job? I'll give you a job. Come with me. Here, you can. Mr. Millington, have I got news for you? You know I've been working on a new invention as of late, do you not?
Yes, but Mr. Watt, I am.
And I think it's finally finished, but that's not even the best part.
Well, isn't that exciting? But as you can see, I'm very busy and
I want your factory to be the first one to use it.
Oh, well, alright, what is it?
I've been working on improving Newcomb's steam engine. I think I finally got it right. It can power all the machines in your factory, and I'm confident that this innovation will influence the new invention of different and even more efficient machines that can make production cheaper for you. After all, if you haven't realized, there's so many advantages of using these machines. And you, sir, the owner of this here factory, are definitely benefiting from them. The amount of time it takes to get work done is so much shorter now than ever before, and my version of the engine powered by steam can make it even shorter. You know what that means for you, sir? Well, for you, Mr. Millington, it means productivity rates will rise.
Sounds good to me, but how much will this be? Is this expensive?
Sir, I know it's a big investment, but I can assure you it will pay off.
Okay, we'll discuss this matter further in my office.
Excuse me, sir.
Oh, right, you. I forgot about you. Go to work over there. You see that man over there?
Thank you.
The steam engine is arguably what set the whole Industrial Revolution in motion, with its revolutionary effects on transportation and factory production. The idea of using steam to move a piston was first conceived in 1690 by Dennis Papin. Even though this use of The piston and cylinder was skipped over by the once popular Savory engine. It was the basis of the Newcomb model, which was the first that was practical to use. It was James Watt's improvements on this model that proved quintessential to the success and widespread use of the steam engine. Let's go to Saudi to see how it influenced Europe.
The early steam-powered engines proved to be a great influential factor to the changing societies of Europe and America during the Industrial Revolution. The new railroads that were built deeply interested the wealthy as well as the common people. Travel was improved so much so that the average travel time between two cities could almost be halved in some places. Indeed, Newcomen's first steam engine sparked a period of building enthusiasm. However, people began to realize that the practicality and efficiency of his engine was not very ideal simply because the engine could not pull a lot of weight. When Newcomen's patent expired in 1800, engineers began to experiment with lighter materials to design a new engine. Newcomen had never worked with these materials because he believed that this was far too dangerous. English engineers, however, did not let this get in their way. Their ambition and curiosity that was unleashed during the Industrial Revolution just couldn't be contained.
Right, Saudia. The railroad turned the whole country of England on its ear. It created jobs that never existed before, led people to major cities, propelled countless industries, and lowered the cost of production down to feasible amounts. Man, aren't trains just the best? Let's see how railroads impacted America.
The railroads built in America are an excellent example of how the steam engine greatly influenced society and economy. The westward expansion in America was motivated primarily because of the introduction of the railways, since it allowed people to benefit from the abundant resources available in the Midwest. For the first time in American history, people had an opportunity to use the vast plains in the West as wheat fields and the pastures as a feeding ground for cattle. The trains also helped form a unique relationship between the Midwest region and the industrial cities, since the railroad could quickly transport materials back and forth. The West provided crops and raw materials for the people in the East. In return, workers in the East sent clothes and other manufactured goods to the West. This balance helped the economy because Americans did not have to rely on foreign countries for food or textiles. A downside to the railroad expansion, however, was that quantity became more important than quality during the Industrial Revolution. Unfortunately, American engineers were looking to make quick profits. They didn't worry about the long-term durability of the railroads. Still, millions of people continued to travel by railroad because it was much cheaper, faster, and far more spacious than traditional stagecoaches. The railroad was a great success because it truly idealized the era of innovations in Europe and America.
Electric telegraph systems provided a method of communication over long distances using electrical impulses. After Alessandro Volta invented the battery, many tried to use the same concept of producing an electric current for communication. Electric telegraph started to be used around the same time in America and England. In America, Samuel Morse developed the Morse code, a code of dots and dashes that could be sent through the telegraph. In England, Charles Wheatstone and William Cooke patented an electric telegraph system that used a 5-needle system. Railroad companies were the first to utilize the electric telegraph as a form of communication. These messages made the railroads more efficient and reliable.
Two major economic systems emerged during the Industrial Revolution: capitalism and socialism. These two systems were fundamental opposites. The father of capitalism, Adam Smith, believed that a competitive market would self-regulate with a laissez-faire policy, while socialism wants no private property and equal distribution of wealth. Also, utopian socialism would ideally have an economy that's basically stagnant, the adverse of capitalism's boom and bust business cycle. Another obvious difference is capital has actually been used effectively, and utopian socialism failed in all test towns set up, and the only remnants of it today are hippie communes.